RJFM for online box radio. For DZRJ 810 AM, just type in DZRJ 810 AM on TuneIn Radio, Streama, and Radio Garden. Happy listening! You are watching the multi-awarded Radio Bandido TV on Channel 224 Sky Cable and TV Plus boxes. Simulcast on DZRJ 810 AM. Informing, advising, and entertaining the Filipinos and OFWs around the world. Streaming live on www.facebook.com/DZRJ 810 AM or on YouTube, channel RJAM News. To all Teleradio Bandido viewers and listeners, you can now watch Teleradio Bandido on our new YouTube channel, RJAM News. Hit the subscribe button and like the video. Don't forget to click the bell icon so you get notified when a new video gets uploaded. Don't miss out on our dynamite lineup.
SOS, Serbisyo, Ora-Mismo, Sigurado. Programang tatalakay sa kapangyarihan ng serbisyo sibil. SOS, Serbisyo, Ora-Mismo, Sigurado. Programang hihimay sa kapangyarihan ng pamalang lokal. SOS, Serbisyo, Ora-Mismo, Sigurado. Programang maglalapit sa pamalan at mamamayan. SOS, Serbisyo, Ora-Mismo, Sigurado. Kikilos ang barangay para sa bayan. Edukasyon, kalusugan, trapiko, basura at iba pa. SOS, Serbisyo, Ora-Mismo, Sigurado. Tatalakay sa mga problemang napapanahon, problemang hahanapan ng solusyon. At ngayon, ang inyong mga lingkod, De Leon Gomez, SOS, Serbisyo, Ora-Mismo, Sigurado. This program is supported by the National Kidney and Transplant Institute, the Philippine Red Cross, Parenting Foundation, and the Metro Manila Council.
Magandang hapon no sa inyong lahat. Today is Monday. Today is a message of love being Valentine's Day. It is amazing how Valentine's Day has captured the imagination of people who dare to love and of course, once upon dared to love. I often say I have four loves: love of God, love of country, love of fellow men, and love of work. It is worthwhile to think, how have we experienced these four loves? I dare say that these four loves will bring success in our family life. Why? Love of country will make us realize that this will make us oneness as citizen in our God, in our country. Perhaps this is what we need now. Be aware with this love. How can we not love our fellow man? And for this love of work, because important with Senator Nikki Coseteng, she brought us to a new consciousness of our problems and issues in public transport. This is a public good, foremost in SOS, Serbisyo Ora-Mismo Sigurado, in which we are unceasing, unwavering, unflinching, and of course, unstoppable, the Red Cross Way. Bukod dito ay nagpadala din ng mensahe si Chief Justice Hilarion Davide Jr., which I would like to read. Sabi po niya, Happy Valentine's Day, this 14th of February, the day of love. God is love. Whoever is without love does not know God. No one has seen God, yet if we love one another, God remains in us and His love is brought to perfection in us. And St. Paul teaches us the way of love. If I speak in human and angelic tongues, but do not have love, I am a resounding gong or a clashing cymbal. And if I have the gift of prophecy and comprehend all mysteries and all knowledge, if I have all faith so as to move mountains but do not have love, I am nothing. The COVID-19 pandemic and the calamities provide us a rare opportunity to prove and show by deeds and actions that God's love is perfected in us. Love conquers all. Love is the greatest commandment. My family and I pray that God will never cease to love us all and that we all likewise to one another. Amen. Tamang-tama po, sapagkat ngayong araw na ito, ang panauhin na this is a Monday dedicated with the issues raised by Senator Nikki Coseteng. At I understand she has invited a couple of guests and we are waiting kung sila ay nandito na. They have been informed. So sisimulan na po natin kung sila ay nandito na. Can we check with the with Radyo Bandido kung nandun na sila? Please. Nandito po lahat, ma'am. Okay. Thank you very much. Can we have them on screen first? Thank you. Nasa screen na lahat? Okay. Kasi host disabled screen participant. Okay. Can we have them? Wala pa sa screen. Pero wala pa sa screen ko eh. Okay. Please show them kung sino yung nandito na. Is Senator Nikki Coseteng there now? We'll start with her.
Yes, hi. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to all.
Yes,
And
you're
good
the most
afternoon,
important
Cora.
here.
Good afternoon, Architect Paula Fox and Attorney Ron Daris.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Kumusta po kayo?
We'll begin with you because I want to congratulate you on the excellent forum kanina, yung Pandasal Forum. Napakaganda, and I think part of that can be also discussed this afternoon kasi the problem of transport, pinakita mo, it's not just the vehicles, the people, but all those affected by this. Well, of course, I'll ask you why you invited Architect Palafox, very famous architect, and of course, Mr. I think Rondain is the other guy.
Ron Daris.
Rondain.
Yes.
Okay, please introduce them because I don't know them yet. I've
Okay.
not met them. Sige, thank you.
I think, yes.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon. Magandang hapon po sa lahat ng ating mga tagapakinig at tagapanood. Salamat kay Cora na napunlakan nyo kami, na binigyan nyo kami ng pagkakataon para ipahayag sa taong bayan kung ano ang sitwasyon ng ating, how do I say it? It's very scary. To me, it's very bothersome, this situation of transportation, mass transportation in our country. And I thought that Architect Palafox should be an authority to consult with because he has done quite a number of studies from the Middle East to here and everywhere else he has been in order to be able to solve the transport problem. Attorney Ron Daris is the president of the Bus Operators Organization. And although I have not met him, I have read his statements and I have read a lot of what he has written about the current situation of bus operators as well as commuters in the country. And I am here because of the numerous complaints I've had. And I must admit, I read it in the newspapers, the columns of Alex Magno and Jarius Bondok. And I said, oh, finally, the cat is out of the bag because for almost 2 years, there has been total silence. It's been practically a news blackout. And that's very sad when that's a reality that we face. No? So thank you, Alma, for your sympathy and for giving us the time, because otherwise we will not be able to reach your many viewers and listeners. And so I think that with our two gentlemen guests, it is going to be a very exciting and informative program that you have today. And I hope that they will also find their way to your program. It's every Monday na po, Architect.
Yes.
Attorney Ronderis. Bawat Lunes na po yung programa ni Alma until March or April.
Yes.
April pa yan.
Kasi ako naniniwala, this is a discussion on public good. Kasi very often, we're busy about a lot of things, pero nakalimutan natin there is something like a public good that must be shared. And the experts like you, you have begun that process. At, ako tuwan-tuwa to be part of this. And this is our Monday issue. Tuwing Monday, may mga bisita tayo magpapaliwanag tungkol dito. Simulan na siguro natin si Architect Palafox. Is a well-known architect, and I've read his book. May nabasa akong tungkol sa kanya. And I know he has been all over the world, I think, particularly in the Middle East. Let's ask him to be on screen.
Yes.
Architect Palafox.
Good afternoon po. Good afternoon po.
Good afternoon, Senator.
Yes. Cora de Leon po.
Yeah, and Ma'am Cora de Leon.
Yes, thank you.
Senator Nikki should go back to the Senate.
Yeah.
We need no creative laws.
No. I'm sorry.
Muna, tapos na yung deadline. Mag-election na, hindi na pwede.
Hindi, pero mas importante ito. This is about public good nga. Ito, usapan natin.
If I may be allowed lang, Cora, no, to just,
Sige, go ahead.
to just explain how I got into the picture, di ba? The bus operators coming from the north, and I hope that later on, Attorney Ronderis will validate this, no? The buses coming from the north are not allowed to enter the city. That to me is the greatest tragedy of it all, because all the people that are coming into the city are here for a purpose. They are here because it's their livelihood. Some of them are students, some of them are office workers, some of them buy things to buy and sell, you know, from the provinces where they came from and come to Manila. So when I was told by this lady that they had to drop her off in Bukawi. And from Bukawi, problema na niya kung paano siya papasok sa Maynila. No? So I think this is a very sad state of affairs. And that kind of a policy is a very cold-hearted, insensitive policy. Not so much for people like Attorney Ronderis who have bus companies. I'm sure they can survive. But it's really the commuters that we are looking out for. You know? And to say that the pandemic is the reason for clamping down and not allowing them to come to the city, I think it's a lame brain excuse, because they're now forced to ride the colorums, and the colorum vans have no social distancing. At least if you have a 12-meter bus, you can open some windows and there can be fresh air coming in, at that speed of 100 or so kilometers per hour. But in a van where you're almost just 1 millimeter beside your next neighbor, seatmate, then it's going to be extremely difficult. Yeah. It also gives us, the bus situation, the northern bus situation is actually a microcosm of our overall transport problem. And if you magnify that, you can just imagine what the torture, the agony is experienced by the people who take public transport. Yes. And now it's not even raining yet. Now the temperature is not soaring to like 90 degrees or more. So you can just imagine what they have to go through when that is already the situation. And in a few months' time, it's going to be like that. So now, because there's a clampdown, because of the policy, what I cannot understand is I now have complaints that I understand the penalty is 1 million pesos per bus. And they are arrested and they're, made to pay a fine.
Yeah.
Yes, and so all of these things are what you call this, not discussed. Malayo pa yung usapin ng subway, yung Pasig River beautification, malayo pa yan. Ang pinag-uusapan natin today, here and now. we can talk until we're blue about everything else, but that's a long way down the road. You know, this one is here and now, and it's been going on for almost a year. So now with the TRO, there's supposed to be an injunction. They're not supposed to be arrested. They're not supposed to be apprehended, but that is what's happening. And so I hope it's not going to get to a point where, like the truckers in Ottawa, in Canada, have blockaded all the highways and blockaded all the city streets. I hope it's not going to get to that point. But if you're pushing the people that far, you can just expect that it can happen anyway.
In a very real sense.
I hope that these things now, maybe it's better that Attorney Ron the Risk, and don't be afraid, kasi before walang gusto magsalita dahil pag-iinitan sila ng LTFRB, pag-iinitan sila ng DOTR. So sabi ko, kulang yung boses ko. I only a minuscule voice, you know, a very soft voice. No. You're the ones directly involved, so we'd like to hear it from you. Thank you.
Sige. Let's have both of them share their thinking about what you've opened. Kasi you've opened what I call a public radar. Yung radar na people don't know. Kailangan may radar para masabi kung ano yung mga nangyayari. And I myself, I am humbled by the fact that as former chair of civil service, apektado yung mga nagtatrabaho sa gobyerno, apektado din yung mga mahirap na, because I was Secretary of Social Welfare, and that is why I'm also here to share your advocacy. Simulan na natin with nasa picture na kasama na natin si Architect Palafox. Sunahin natin siya.
Yeah, thank
Architect.
you, ma'am.
Yes,
thank you, Senator. Thank you, ma'am, for De Leon and Attorney Rodaris.
Yes.
You know, the basic principle is those who have less in roads, those who have less in wheels should have more in roads. Those who have less in wheels should have more in roads. The principle also, so many persons, passengers per lane per hour. Obsolete practices natin dito, so many cars per lane per hour.
Yes.
And also, we love cars, including me, but only 2% of us Filipinos own cars. But our infrastructure is car-centric.
Yeah.
It's not human-centric. And there are 20 kinds of transportation. The first mode is walking. The second mode is bicycle. The third mode is public transit, mass transit. The automobile should be the last mode. When I was 24 years old, 72 years old na ako next month, I have been putting forward even congestion charging. During 2 hours, magbayad ang kotse papasok ng congested areas. Sinunod ako sa Dubai. Every time you cross the bridges of Dubai Creek, you pay about 50 pesos. So that postponable trips, unnecessarities, wag pumasok sa city. Papasok ka na sa congested areas, outside peak hours na lang. Tapos our land use also. We're talking about the demand side of transportation, roads, cars, trains, and so on. But we're not looking at the demand side of traffic. Like in 1990, 1 year after I left Ayala, put up my own company, ang LGU ng Makati, in-increase ang density ng Makati ng 4 times. Access capacity ng Makati, hindi naman nag-increase ng 4 times. Kaya before the pandemic, I was quoted as saying, the employees of Makati are priced out of the housing stock of Makati. So they are like OFWs.
Yes.
They are away from their families 6 hours a day because they are priced out of the housing stock of Makati, Fort Bonifacio, Ortigas, and so on. The places of work, the employees are priced out. It's exclusionary zoning. We talk about inclusive growth. That's as old as Spanish colonization, where intramuros, inside the walls, were the Ilustrados and the Pinspire. Extramuros, outside the walls, were the peasants and the Indios. I'm also guilty of that. I used to live in those villages, and I used to plan gated communities as well. So, with the public transit, let's look at Manhattan, New York.
Yes.
Yung central bus station, nasa gitna ng New York.
Yes.
Buses should arrive on the last mile to your destination. So let's say destination mo Makati, the bus stop should be at least 1 mile away. So you walk the last mile or you tricycle the last mile, take a taxi the last mile. Even in real estate, obsolete ng practices. Real estate practitioners, ano pa rin sila? Location, location, location. It's no longer just location, 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 but connectivity, connectivity, connectivity,
Yes.
accessibility, 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 and mobility, mobility, mobility. Ang dami natin obsolete practices. Thank you po for opportunity here.
Wow, that says it all. Dahil napatira rin, I'm sure si Nikki, sanay na rin sa New York. Ako din napatira ako dyan sa New York after school. Kitang-kita ko you have to walk to the Grand Central Station para makasakay ka. Ha? Diba?
The last mile, maglakad ka, the last mile, the bus, yung galing New Jersey, di ba? Nasa Manhattan na, you walk the last mile.
Yes, mahaba. Kailangan talagang bata-bata pa. Anyway, let's, Senator Nikki, can we have Mr. Rondaris now para we can complete the discussion?
Yes. Attorney, please.
Attorney.
Good afternoon po.
Sige. Sige, you've heard the discussion. Ano ang take nyo sa ating napag-usapan? The remarks of Senator Nikki and of course Dr. Parafox. Anong take nyo? Your share in the discussion.
I think I have the lengthiest to say.
Yes.
Because we will begin from a vantage point that begins in 2017.
Go ahead.
It has been a long journey for us. And I thank Senator Nikki for bringing these things onto light so that the public may know. We are serious actually with our responsibility of providing the transport service to our people. I represent po the provincial bus operators of the Philippines, which was formerly known as PBOAP. But now it is known by NSNP-BPI, which is just a Filipino translation of PBOAP. Masyado pong mahaba kaya ayaw ko na pong banggitin. Okay po. Now, our troubles began actually when DOTR Department Order Department Order 2017-011 was issued. Because that department order has many components, which is actually the core of the modernization program of the government, which is called PUVMP, Public Utility Vehicle Modernization Program. One of the avowed purposes of the program or component is phase out of vehicles, which is
yung lumang jeep.
Hindi lang po jeep, kundi lahat po ng land transport.
Okay.
As para sa aming mga buses, we must have we can operate only for 15 years. We can operate a bus only for 15 years, and after which we should dispose of them. On the other denominations, I think it is shorter. Another component of the modernization program is the integrated terminal exchanges, which is one of which is mentioned by Senator Nikki, which is the North Luzon Express Terminal. On the southern portion is the Santa Rosa Integrated Terminal, and the one mostly used is the Parañaque Integrated Terminal Exchange.
PITX, yes.
The concept of those integrated terminal exchange is actually to decongest. That is what they say, to decongest EDSA. But actually what the pandemic has proven is that we have virtually no operations, but EDSA is still traffic bound. So at least that much proves our theory that we are not to be blamed, because we think we are the solution, not the problem.
Yeah.
Because like as what Senator Nikki said during her interview last Saturday, how many people can fit in a car, and how many people can fit on a bus, which is about 40 to 50 passengers per bus. That is the capacity. Now, what the problem caused by 2017-011 is that they have the LTFRB has implemented it by issuing memorandum circulars that already modified our endpoints to the integrated terminal exchanges. So much so that we thought that as operators, we also should look out for our passengers. And we know for a fact that our passengers would not like to go
Yes.
down as far as Bukawi, which is almost 30 kilometers away from Metro
30,
Metropolis.
30, 30,
30. Almost 30 po. Opo. Kasi
30.
po sa Google po parang 26 o 27 po. Pero
30.
i-count off na lang po natin. Isama na lang po yung inconvenience kaya 30 na po. So so when those issuances came out and we were not being consulted when these issuances came out.
Yeah.
So we were not coordinated with, and then the MMD also issued a memorandum that wants the LGUs to revoke our business permits here inside Metro Manila. So that is we really feel being oppressed by
Yes.
these issuances. And so we were forced actually to file a case to question these issuances, and it is now pending in court. And while it is pending, we have requested the Regional Trial Court of Quezon City to issue to us not merely a TRO, but a writ of preliminary injunction. People always think about the TRO as the
answer.
the answer. But in law, TRO is only valid for 20 days.
Temporary.
Yes,
Temporary restraining order.
That is only valid for 20 days. But a writ of preliminary injunction stays until the issue has been finally adjudicated, which means it goes up to the Supreme Court should it reach that level. So now we were able to secure that writ of preliminary injunction. But despite that, some of our members have been apprehended for not passing through the North Luzon Express Terminal. Government has compared the northern operators with the southern operators, but herein lies the difference. The southern interchange is in Parañaque, inside Metro Manila.
Metro Manila.
So
Accessible.
Yes, accessible in theory. But here in the north, we are 30 kilometers away.
Yeah, Bukawi.
So we have tried to reach out to government about this, but apparently our voice are not loud enough for them to hear. So I'm very thankful for Senator Nikki for bringing our problems into light. Opo.
But actually, I was not really bringing the bus operators' problems. I was originally bringing the
Passengers,
problems.
commuters,
Yun,
yes.
kaya, pero hindi mo mahihiwalay yun eh.
Yes,
Hindi mo
that's
mahihiwalay.
true.
You know, I'd like to say that the situation of this public transport is a katay operation. It's a katay operation of the LTFRB and the DOTR. So we have to call a spade a spade. If we are trying to be nice about everything,
Cannot
they think they can get away with so much, But I don't believe that a integrated terminal can be decided upon as an afterthought or a knee-jerk reaction. I will reiterate what I mentioned earlier in the Kapihan, Cora, where you were there.
Yes. Yeah.
I attended the Southeast Asian Games in the arena, and it took me an hour and a half to get out of there. And that was not with any buses or any terminal usage, of that particular vicinity, So if that's the situation, you can just imagine you're transferring or setting up a terminal in a place where every time there's a public event, a ball game or whatever it is, all these 4,000 buses are going to have hell. And how about the riders of 4,000 buses? If you compute, the snowball effect of this. So I'm not against an integrated terminal, but it has to be within the city, as Architect Palafox mentioned earlier. And the important thing is, you have to be connected to something else.
Yes.
Not just dump you there and bahala na si Batman, di ba? Kailangan, pagka nandun ka sa Grand Central Station mo, merong bus, merong jeep, merong tricycle, merong MRT, may LRT, sasakay ka lang. You just go to another platform, there's another something going on, right? I mean, I know what Architect Palafox was talking about, like in New York. I come from Connecticut, I go to New York, in an hour and a half or so, I'm there. You just walk out, you just walk out and you're in the Twin Towers. That time there was still Twin Towers. And I've managed to walk from the 53rd Street all the way to 100. Or whatever it is, that the Guggenheim Museum. I walked that, and that's another 50 blocks, So it's not a problem because the sidewalks are wide. There are no obstructions, walang basurahan, walang poste ng kuryente, poste ng cable TV, poste ng kung ano-ano. Hindi ka rin makalakad assuming that you even want to walk,
Yes.
Of course, not all the way to Bukawi, but if you want to walk in the city, sometimes in one canto, there are 18 posts. 18 posts. I don't know if Meralco, PLDT, lahat sila nagtatatayuan ng poste. Hindi ko naintindihan kung paano pinapayagan yan, di ba? Huwag mo nang pag-usapan yung basura, yung mga karatula at whatever else is there. Yeah.
But the tragedy, I think, Senator Nikki, is the fact that pagbaba nila sa Bukawi, nakaabang na yung mga sasakyan, colorum. And one wonders how this is made possible because para sa akin, hindi dapat na colorum ang nagpa-apply doon para may answerability naman.
And also, the colorums are serving a purpose.
Yes.
Kaya tuloy yung mga pasahero, okay na lang na may colorum. Kasi
at ang mahal. At ang mahal.
At they're charging 3.5 from Baguio to Manila. That's sabi ko, para ka nagpunta ng Boracay. Pag may scale sa aeroplano, minsan 1,000 lang ang Boracay. Oh, can you imagine that? So the vacuum that's created by the inaction and inefficiency, ineffectivity of government is now filled by all these others that are trying to make a living also, diba?
Yeah.
So I think Architect Palafox has something to say.
Yeah. Thank you,
Go ahead.
sir. It's really the last mile. In fact, elsewhere in the world, like in the San Francisco area, no?
Yes.
You park and ride. Parking ng kotse, then sasakay ka ng BART. Baliktad dito Bas ang papasok sa San Francisco, yung kotse maiwan sa labas.
Yes, yes.
You park and ride. So in the world, I think in Canada, they call it, you kiss and ride. Yung naghahatid sa iyo. Dito baliktad dapat yung higher capacity vehicles ang papasukin sa city. Tapos yung mga low occupancy vehicles, i-postpone na lang yung unnecessary trips. Kaya nga may congestion charging in most cities na pinupose dito 1975. I was 25 years old, congestion charging. So, kaya ano rin tayo, ang dami ng policies in the past, parang, also I call it, procrastination blues. Ang dami ng plano in the past, procrastination blues.
Yeah, pero the basis of the plan the basis of the plans may not be scientific. They may not be practical. Yeah. They may not be in consideration of the greater good for the greatest number.
Yes.
It should be intermodal, very well connected, accessible, and mobility.
Yes.
Kulang yun kasi kung puro one mode lang, it should be seamless connectivity. Seamless. Hindi
that takes also time to implement. We're not looking at now.
Reality.
This lockdown. Who decides on what to do about transportation? The IATF? Sino doon ang transport manager? Management person, di ba? Yung BOTR, sino doon ang transport management person?
Yeah.
Doon LTFRB, the LTFRB is a regulatory board. They're not designing or planning or even thinking of what to do. They're just supposed to, and even what they're supposed to do, to regulate. Hindi nga nila nagagawa yun Kasi kung marunong sila mag-regulate at tama nire-regulate nila, bakit yung kolorum hindi nahuhuli, ang bus ang hinuhuli? Malaking problema. Malaking problema nun, di ba? That is already a reflection. It's a reflection of what kind of people and what kind of thinking these people have. Now, it is almost Holy Week. Ang akin lang doon, pabayaan nyo silang pumasok. Itong mga bus, kayong attorney Ronda Riz, no? Kayo, pabayaan mo silang pumasok and find their way and then work out a system. I'm sure these bus operators do not also like to be delayed, do not also like to be harassed. Sino ang minumura ng pasahero ng
Pasahero.
bus pag nade-delay? Yung may-ari ng bus. Kala mo, mumurahin nila sa Tugade? Di ba? Mumurahin nila yung LTFRB? Hindi. Ang aawain nila, walang ya itong bus
company.
o mga walang kwenta kayo, ganyan. Isipin mo, ang tao na tutulog sa bus station, yan ba ang gusto ng gobyerno na mangyari? I'm sure even you, bus operators, don't want the people to sleep in the sidewalk just so they can try and hope to catch a bus. That's ridiculous. And those drivers of the buses now have no work. Those maybe 50,000, maybe more bus drivers, conductors, even yung nagtitinda ng mani, nagtitinda ng puto at kung bibingka o kung ano man, pati sila apektado. Di ba? Hindi lang naman bus operator Si Attorney Rondaris, kung marami kayong bus, di siyempre, parang hindi naman kayo mukhang nahihirapan, di ba? Pero paano yung mga tao nyo? Paano yung mga tao nyo?
Sa totoo lang po, hirap na rin po mga operators. Kahit kasi po, yung modernization program, heavily leverage po ang industry namin. Dahil po, yung mga buses kailangan palitan. So, hindi po pinag-uusapan dito yung tens of millions, kundi hundreds of millions at saka billions in leverage po. Yan po kaya hirap na hirap po kami. Marami na po ngang na-layoff na mga workers at ino-obserbahan po nga namin sa numbers namin kung sino na ang magfo-fold up. Yan po talagang realization dahil ang mga bangko, mabuti na lang ang mga bangko sa ngayon, hindi po sila nag-i-insist. Pero dahil po dun sa half-baked policy ng government, dahil nga kasi po, yung a certain percentage lang ang bumabiyahe. Sa South po, mas marami, siguro mga 20%. I don't even think na may 30% po sila. Dito sa North, kami talaga po, zero talaga. May zero talaga. Wala pang 10% yung iba. Kaya po, kung isipin nyo, if you think na it's almost gonna be 2 years to March 16 next month that we have not been operating. Ang sakit po nun para sa mga empleyado na nagtatrabaho. Yun po kaya, actually, talagang we do what we can to support them, to subsidize them. And I hope sana government appreciates us for that. But we cannot do it forever. How long is this gonna be for us, for our employees? Kasi po, ma'am, if modesty aside po.
Yes.
Kasi I'm already a third generation operator. I started with my father and myself. We have been in the business for 40 plus years. And we know what's happening on the ground. And we want to help government in that aspect, yung modernization, yung connectivity. But apparently, they don't want to listen to us. That is the problem that we face. Alam nyo po, kasi there is a prevailing mentality na yung mga pusakal kaming mga operator na pag kami nasalasaan, tuluyan mo na lang mas mura kaysa yung bubuhayin mo. Ganun, hindi. That's why I want to assure the government that we are not what the image you see. We are conscientious. We are taxpayers. Alam niyo po yung economic recovery namin. We don't know why we are not involved in the process.
Yes.
Because transport is a critical component of our economic recovery.
Correct.
Now, in the DTI, yung letter po na, I don't know if Senator Nikki was able to get a hold of my letter to the secretaries. But in my letter to the secretaries, we got figures from the DTI in their website that small and medium enterprises, in 70% of those are concentrated in NCR Region 3 and Region 4. So that's basically where we operate.
Yeah.
Now, if 70% and out of 70% of SMEs, 4 million of those are workers. So how can you drive an economy if you're not going to allow the transport to resume? Now, and what the LTFRB is saying right now is because hindi talk to IATF because IATF also issued a resolution number 101 stating that we should use the integrated terminal exchanges. But these are extraordinary times that require also humanity also, because we cannot survive. We cannot survive this without yung humanity rin. Kasi yung mga tao na maliliit, yung mga SMEs, they are the ones that are critical. And they should be the ones na arugahin po natin. And if you don't engage the transport, how can this?
Yes.
And yung mga sinasabi ni Senator Nikki, dapat yata si Senator Nikki ang operator niya. Kasi yung mga naglalako, ma'am, yung mga bangus sa Dagupan.
Yes. Paano makakarating?
Yung mga Abel sa Ilocos. Kasi yung company naman namin, we are in Ilocos eh. We operate there. So, I mean, yung tourism po natin, di ba? So, how can you restart and recharge the economy if you don't support us? Opo.
Architect,
si Nikki, go ahead.
Architect Palafox
sige.
wants to say something.
Thank you,
Please
ma'am.
do.
Kasi decision makers in our part of the world, puro economic cost benefit. Dapat gawin natin beneficiary sufferer analysis. Then society, university belt, ilan estudyante ang apektado? Kung estudyante tayo, aktivista pa tayo. Punta kang Baguio, nandyan yung dangwa, lalakad ka lang. And pupunta kang Bukawi to go to Baguio or something like that. Ilan bus terminals na maliliit lang around University Belt, ilan milyon na estudyante doon apektado. So they will be the sufferers. Sana decision making should not just be economic cost benefit, but beneficiary sufferer analysis.
Galing.
I think that's a very well said statement. Kasi yun sila ang nagdurusa. Pinag-usapan natin na Holy Week, malayo pang Biyernes Santo. Pero yung mga tao, dalawang taon na penitensya na yan sila, dalawang taon na halos, di ba?
Nikki, ang comment ko nga napag-aralan natin, kami sa public administration, 3 words, accessibility, answerability, and accountability. Yung 3 H na yon, tingnan natin sa sistema. Obviously, kung may test ka, parang radar mo ngayon, tinitingnan mo, hindi accessible ang transportation system. Number 2, hindi answerable yung mga nag-i-establish ng polisiya tungkol dyan. And number 3, definitely, yung accountability na ginawa nila. Halimbawa, napansin ko nga, pati yung road, kumbaga, miski yung sa Skyway, konti-konting kotse dumadaan. Sabi nila, kaya kukunti dyan kasi imbis na nasa baba, nasa itaas. Pero magkano nagastos to build those roads na di ba? Yun lang ang comment ko tungkol dyan.
Yeah, ma'am.
Go ahead. Yes.
You know, the indicator of a first world country, when decision makers, leaders of industry and government ride public transit.
Yes, sabi nga ni Nikki yan.
Public transit.
Yes.
Meron nga ako.
Walk and bike.
May challenge si Nikki. Go ahead, Nikki.
Architect, sasama ka dito Meron ako kanina nabanggit ko dun sa forum. And I hope they take up the challenge.
Yes.
Because this is a very serious matter to me. That's why I'm taking time to discuss it, no. Sabi ko, pupusta ako 2 milyon 2 milyon. Handa ako matalo ng 2 milyon. From the secretary down to the last director of all these transport agencies, sumakay kayo ng bus for 30 days like a normal commuter. Walang bodyguard, walang tagapila para bumili ng ticket, walang sariling coach, or wala lang sariling sasakyan, hindi ba? Kasi lahat kayo naka-SUV Lahat kayo may sarili kayo naka-aircon, meron kayong driver, meron kayong bodyguard, may backup, may kung ano-ano. Hindi nyo nararamdaman yon, di ba? Kaya, yun lang ang akin dyan. 30 days lang. Itataya ko yan. Kung kaya nyo.
Obviously, hindi.
Hindi ko alam. Baka kaya nila, matatalo ko, okay lang. At least nakita ng tao na sila nakapila. Kung saan nakapila yung tao, doon din kayo pumila.
Maramdaman nila.
Para maramdaman nyo.
Correct.
Gagawa kayo ng patakaran na exempted kayo Yan ang problema. Di ba? At isa pa, sabi ko, Lahat ng tao humihingi ng ayuda. Yung transport operators, ewan ko ito
Hindi.
si attorney kung humihingi kayo ng ayuda, pero sa tingin ko, walang nag-iisip na bibigyan yung mga resort owners, meron silang suporta o meron silang nakukuhang loan or whatever, na maybe deferred ang interest payments or deferred ang amortizations, etc. Ewan ko kung, hindi ko naririnig na yung bus operators ay may suporta na
Meron.
ganyan sa gobyerno. Samantalang, yung service na binibigay ng bus operators for jeepney
Yes.
or tricycle operators and drivers, di ba? That service is actually filling a vacuum that a totally
Yeah.
irresponsible and insensitive government has created because of their inaction, because of their
Lack.
lack of planning, lack of even thinking, di ba? So, nagtsatsaga na nga sila para gumawa ng paraan para yung tao makapunta from point 1 to point 2, di ba? Ginagawa nila yun. Kung maganda yung sistema, we won't even be wasting our time discussing this way.
Yeah.
Talking about the guy from Bangar, La Union, bringing the abel all the way down here to Manila, bringing toys from Manila to La Union to sell or tela to make into clothes, or something, aprons, etc. Hindi na binabanggit yung nagdadala ng walis. Yung walis na yan, yung raw material ng walis sa Catanduanes pagaling, dadalhin pa yan sa La Union, ginagawa sa La Union, ginagawa nila Baguio City. Hindi naman gawa sa Baguio City yan. Pero,
Nakalagay Baguio City.
galing doon, dadalhin dito. I mean, whether peanut brittle, whether tuyo, daing, whatever, lahat yan galing sa norte. Di ba?
Correct. So, way forward tayo, no? Kasi kanina, you already made some suggestions, no? In terms of how can we help the transport industry to make them viable, and then to make it also livable for our citizens. Na sabi ko nga na yung mga, kasi ako din naging DSWD secretary ako, wala namang mayaman sa DSWD, siyempre mga clients, mga sumasakayan sa public transport, pero naniniwala ako na yung maling nangyayari should not continue. Yun ang paniniwala ko. And I think the discussion today and the succeeding Mondays natin will bring about, to my mind, a way forward. So siguro tingnan natin kung ano ngayon ang mga suggestion. Kasi nagsimula na tayo sa forum kanina. Maybe we can ask our guest, si Attorney Rondaris, and of course si Dr. Palafox, to tell us ano yung way forward na pwede natin simulang gawin. It might not be abuting kagad in the next government, pero right now, what can
That's
be
too
done?
long.
Kaya nga right now, for Holy Week, sinabi mo na nga ano yung pwedeng magawa sa Holy Week? Simulan lang natin na may aksyon na magawa para sa Holy Week, because napaka-importante sa atin ang Holy Week. Kaya nga Holy Week yan importante sa atin.
Yeah, but they have to decide now. Because those buses have been mothballed for 2 years. So you cannot just
Allow
tell
them.
Mr. Rondaris, sige patakbuhin mo yung how many 100 buses mo bukas. Hindi. Kasi
They have to prepare.
baka may ipis yan, may daga, or may whatever, I don't know. But he has to clean up his buses. And that takes money, takes time, and takes manpower to just even fumigate those buses. Di ba? Kaya kung sinasabi ko buksan sa Holy Week, hindi yung Biyernes Santo sasabihin mo kay attorney, sige tumakbo kayo bukas. Hindi gano'n. Ngayon pa lang, sabihin mo na.
Kasi ano natin.
Yeah, kung hindi, talagang bato. Talaga kausap natin bato. Ibig sabihin, bato na yung kausap mo na walang nararamdaman kahit ano.
Yes. So, can we hear from our resource person na imbitado ngayon para maisip natin kung that this came about in the discussion today on Valentine's Day, pinag-usapan ito kasi mula sa puso ito, naniniwala tayo para gumaang naman ang buhay ng mga Pilipino. Go ahead.
Tama po yung sabi ni Senator Nikki na we need time to reactivate the buses kasi isa ho, even if we did not operate for the almost 2 years that we are not allowed to operate, we still had our expenses. We had to maintain the buses But syempre po, iba po yung talagang naitatakbo. In fact, isa hong na-experience namin yan kasi yung we road tested one of our buses eh. Buti na lang sandali lang ho siya na sandali lang nakikita namin yung structural integrity din kuminsan kailangan maalog eh. So kailangan talaga ng preparation po. Kaya tama po yun na hindi pwedeng pagdating ng Holy Week saka lang sasabihin. Yun nga po ang nangyari nung Pasko. Ma'am, Senator Nikki, nung sabihin ko na lang po, sasabihin nila sa amin, sasabihin nila dun sa mga nakakabiyahe ng mga kasamaan namin, December 23 na.
Oh my God.
Yung mga tao, hindi nila alam kung saan pupunta. Pinagbintangan pa kami, kaya nagdagsa yung tao sa mga terminal. Hindi naman po alam ng mga tao ang patakaran nila na dapat sa inlet eh. At saka sino naman po ang pupunta ron?
Yes.
Wala na pong taong pupunta ron. And then gagastos po sila ng magkano po, maliit siguro 200 po kung pupunta ka po roon. Tapos isa pong problema sa connectivity, yung pong assuming na sasalo po ang city operation sa aming bus, ang traditional po na traveler na mga katulad po namin na long haul, ay marami pong dala-dala. Yung sabi po ni Senator Nikki na walis, saan mo isasakay? Walang istribo ang city operation. So mapipilitan siya umarkila ng UB. O kaya elf po. Di magkano binayad niya.
Yes.
Tapos,
medyo kulang na tayo ng time, no? Senator Nikki, pababalikin natin sila dahil talagang this is an unfinished business, no? Sa Lunes, dadagdagan pa natin to ng summary kasi hindi pa ito nakalagay sa future, ano yung gusto nating mangyari. But definitely, we want to be able to see na by Holy Week, merong mangyayari na makabubuti sa mga mamamayan natin, di ba? Senator Nikki, anong final salvo mo sa mga bisita natin?
Well, before anything else, I'd like to thank both Architect Palafox and Attorney Ronderis for coming to your show. This is just a first of a series. So all their views and all the studies that they have made and their experiences are very valuable. And it's also going to help the Filipino commuters understand the complexity of our transport situation. It's not just kasi ganito, kasi ganyan. Hindi lang ganun kadali yun. Ang lalim nito. Nakikita natin yung mga dahon ng gulo-gulo pero hindi natin nakikita yung mga ugat. At yun ang dapat maintindihan ng mga opisyal ng transportation. Kasi kung hindi nila naiintindihan, kumuha na lang kayo na nakakaintindi. Kasi hindi naman kailangan alam nyo lahat eh. Pero baka yung may nakakaalam, yung mga nakakaalam, hindi makapasok sa opisina nyo, hindi makasalita, or magsalita man ay hindi nyo pinapansin. Diba? Kaya kamukha, as an example, no, yung pinag-usapan kanina tungkol sa mga jeep. Of course, this is not in the realm of the buses, no. But to me, government can easily support all the jeep operators and support all the jeepney drivers. Bigyan nyo, walang bayad. Walang bayad. Bigyan nyo ng e-jeep. Walang bayad. Bakit nyo kailangan pagkakitaan at pagkukwartahan yung hanap buhay ng public transport sector?
Yes.
Diba? Yung mga e-jeep na yan, ibigay nyo. Huwag nyo siyang pagbayarin ng registration ng 3 taon. O kung bus man siya, bigay nyo yon. Ibalik sa inyo yung bus nila. O yung jeep nila. In exchange, one-on-one.
Correct.
Diba? Now, ano ang kita ng gobyerno? Halos malaking bawas yung mga may upper respiratory illness.
Sakit.
Yung mga magpapa-ospital, may asthma, kung ano-ano, hindi makatulog sa gabi dahil sa ingay ng mga jeep at iba pang mga sasakyan. Diba? Kung may konsensya tayo, alam natin na pagka maganda, ayos yung tulog nila dahil hindi maingay, bukas pagising nila,
productive.
Oo, tsaka hindi nila sinusumpa yung gobyerno araw-araw. Bawat sakay nila sa sasakyan, ano bang klaseng gobyerno to? Bakit ako tinatrato na ganito? Tapos sasabihin na kami yung bayani, kami yung manggagawa, kami yung frontliners. Pagkatapos yung frontliners pinalalakad nyo, yung gasoline boy doon sa kanto ng PM Calao at saka MH Del Pilar. Sinabi sa akin Nilalakad niya hanggang Bulacan.
Oh,
Nilalakad niya
wow.
hanggang Bulacan. He's a gasoline boy and he walks that every single day. Well, from the time when I met him there, you know. So ibig sabihin, ibang usapan to. Hindi ito pwedeng pag-usapan na paminsan-minsan lang. At yung
Yes.
2 years, news blackout in all those
Yes.
2 years. Yun hindi ko talaga hindi ko talaga matake kung tutuusin. Kaya nagpapasalamat ako nandito kayo, pero sa susunod, at least alam na ni Cora kung ano itong mga issues na to.
Yes.
Marami kayong maipahihiwatig sa ating taong bayan kung anong pwede nating gawin. At
Yes.
yung sasabihin sana ng transport sector, pakinggan nyo. Dahil yung hindi nyo pagpakinig dito sa yung mga hinaing ng transport sector, hindi lang silang nagbabayad niyan, hindi lang empleyado nila nagbabayad niyan. Milyong-milyon ang taong bayan na nagdurusa dahil sa inyong pagpiga dito sa mga to.
Wow.
Yan masasabi ko. Kasi hindi ako kasali dyan eh. Hindi ako I'm not directly
Pero
involved.
ikaw nga ang nagbukas ng pinto para maunawaan ito.
Well, I hope
Kasi-
they're listening. Kasi kung
Yes,
wala silang gagawin,
kailangan.
ibig sabihin ang kausap mo talaga bato. Wala na akong ibang masabi eh, di ba? So thank you very much, Architect. And I'm sure your insights are going to be very, very
Yes.
welcome. And Attorney Ronderis,
We will continue
punta
this
ko sa Ilocos,
discussion.
sasakay ako sa bus nyo pag
Monday.
meron na.
And then of course, we will anticipate ano yung pagpaplano para sa Holy Week para mabago naman
Yes.
ang pananaw ng mundo. Simulan na natin to discuss na natin unti-unti every Monday para we will know our way forward. Maraming salamat.
3 weeks na lang yan, ha? 3 weeks na lang, Holy Week na. And every
Those
day
3 weeks, those 3 weeks will be spent productively to see the way forward. Tamang-tama tayo.
It only
Sige.
takes one signature, I think. It only takes one signature. They already have the approval of the other agencies. It's only the Secretary of Transportation that is not agreeing to doing this.
Kulutin natin this week para for Monday malaman natin kung ano magiging action. Okay?
Siguro
Thank you very,
matatakot
very
yan sa'yo,
much.
Cora. Matatakot
Yes.
sa'yo sila.
Hindi, panahon na.
Thank you. Thank you to
Oo.
everyone. Thank you. And thank you,
Panahon na.
Cora,
Thank
for
you
this
very
opportunity.
much.
Thank you.
Till next Monday, Monday. Thank you.